Good morning. My name is Wayne Cordova. I'm one of the pastors here at Crosspoint Church. And man, I am thrilled to be here to be a part of part 3 of Moment Maker. In week 1 of this series, just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about moments that made us. And so we were talking about just our story and all that happens in that beginning part where God calls us to be His. And so we talked about that. And last week, we talked about created moments. And creative moments are moments that we make to enhance someone else's life. And so we talked about that in the context of our families and our children and what we can do in that context of how we could create these moments to show people, to train up our kids, to train up the next generation in their relationship with God, what we can do in that. And so we talked about how to create those moments, how to be intentional, how to actually be focused on what we can do in a certain situation to make this a teachable moment. And so this week, we're talking about received moments. And this is going to be your first fill-in, so go ahead and pull out your message guide and jot this down. Our received moment are moments that we experience that enhance our own lives. Are moments that we experience that enhance our own lives. And these are these moments that just come out of nowhere sometimes. And we have this choice to pay attention to them or not. And sometimes when it comes to a received moment, when it comes to this learning opportunity, this learning moment, we have to be focused and we have to be ready because these moments come out of nowhere. They hit us sometimes like a 2x4. Just out of nowhere. And some of you are going, does he really know what it feels like to be hit by a 2x4? And thanks for laughing at that. But I grew up, I'm the last of 5, and we were all pro wrestling fans. And so, yes, I know what it feels like to be hit by a 2x4. And when you're the last of 5, you're just the youngest. You do whatever they tell you to do. And so they go, hey, Wayne, stand here. And you go, okay. And then you just stand there, and that's just what happens. A received moment, like a 2x4. And so these moments that we experience that enhance our own lives. They just enhance our own lives. And it's these moments that they're teachable moments for us. And so when we dive into that, we got to understand, first off, some of you are going to say, oh, Pastor Wayne, isn't it more blessed to give than to receive? And some of you would say, why did that guy sound so nerdy? And it came out of me. But it's one of those things where, yeah, it's in some context, it is better to give than to receive. But when it comes to these moments, so many of us, we give and we give and we give and we give of ourselves so much that we realize at some point you can't give when you're running on empty. You can't give when you're running on empty, and you need to receive from God. You need to be able to receive these moments and be filled. See, a lot of times we choose to give and give and give and give, and we think that there's something right about that. We think that there's something right about we're just going to give until we are just completely spent and empty, and we're not going to focus on receiving. We're not going to focus on filling our tank back up because for some reason we think it either makes us cool or it makes us more blessed in others' eyes to just continue to give until we are empty. And that's not the case. That ends up being pride. And if you're just giving out of pride, you're doing it for the wrong reason. And so you need to be able to fill yourself up with these received moments. You need to be able to hear from the Word of God and be filled so that you're just not pouring out on empty. These received moments that we experience that impact our own lives. And so let's dive in. We're going to kind of just talk about that. What are these received moments and what do we have to do in them? And so the first thing is this: received moments come when we pause. Received moments come when we pause. John chapter 8, verse 3 through 11. We're going to take a dive into this. John chapter 8, verse 3 through 11. And if you have your Bibles with you, go ahead and open up to John chapter 8. If you don't have your Bibles, or if you have your apps, go ahead and fire up your Bible app. Otherwise, the word's going to be up here on the screen. And we also have some free Bibles in the back for everybody. And it's important for us to understand something. We're about to go into this story, this account of this woman that was caught in the act of adultery. She was caught in the act of, and so it's important to understand there's a couple of things. Number one, okay, we're going to be talking about a woman that was caught in the act of adultery, okay? So it's important for you guys to hear that because it's also important for you to understand that check-in is still open at Crosspoint Kids. And they're going to receive Jesus at their level. We're talking at an adult level right now, okay? Everybody with me? Good. Fair warning. All right. John chapter 8, verse 3 through 11, it says this: the scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery. Here's the first thing. The scribes and the Pharisees, these are the professional religious people, okay? So the professional religious people are the scribes and the Pharisees. The Pharisees are the ones whose job it is, right, to know the law and to make sure that everybody is enforcing the law, okay? We're talking about the spiritual law here. The scribes, right, that's exactly what you would expect it to be. The scribes are the people that write all this stuff down, all right? The scribes are the people that are they're totally writing down all these words. So the scribes and the Pharisees, they're keeping an account of things, and they bring a woman who has been caught in adultery, and placing her in the midst, they said to him, and then the him is Jesus, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery." Now, here's the thing. A couple things to understand. Number one, these religious people, they're looking for, okay, an excuse to catch Jesus, okay? They want to literally kind of catch him saying the wrong thing. They want to catch him so they can kind of convict him of doing something wrong. And so they want to find Jesus and put him in a corner. And what you got to understand is nobody puts Jesus in a corner. And here's the number two thing. These professional religious people, they went out in an attempt to catch Jesus, in an attempt to kind of corner him, right? They went out and they found a woman who's been caught in the act of adultery. She was caught in the act. She was caught in the act. So I don't know what that looks like. If they're walking around and they're going, we just got to figure out a way to just, catch him just saying the wrong thing. And then they're just kind of walking around. And then just all of a sudden they go, hey, wait, what's that? And then they catch this woman who's caught in the act of adultery. Now, here's the thing. Number one, I first heard this story when I was 15, okay? I had just started going to church. You guys heard a couple weeks ago about the story of me going to church. So here's the thing. Now, fast forward a couple weeks into it, I start going to this thing called Sunday school, and I'm here, and I'm listening, to this story, and my Sunday school teacher is reading this passage, and he says, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in the act." And I go, whoa, she was caught in the act? This is 15-year-old me going, yeah. And then, then Sunday school teacher starts reading. I go, whoa. In the act? And he's like, yeah, apparently that's what it says. And I go, what about the dude? What? No, what about the guy? Huh. They didn't bring him. I'm 41 now, and I'm still wondering, what about the dude? They bring her. They didn't bring him. So they bring her right in front of Jesus, and they say, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery." And now, because they're professional religious people, they know the law, they keep the law, they say this: "Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. So what do you say?" So he says this to Jesus. In the law, they command us to stone such women. So he's saying, here's the sin, here's the consequence. And they're trying to catch Jesus saying the wrong thing. So they go, "So now, Mr. Love One Another, what do we do?" And here's the thing, they're trying to catch him because they're trying to put him, again, in this corner where there's nothing good that he could say. They've made their decision. They want to arrest him for saying the wrong thing. In fact, that's what it says in the scripture. It says they said this to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. They want Jesus to say, "I forgive her, let her off the hook." Or they want Jesus to say, "Stone her." Because if he says stone her, they go, "Aha, what happened to all that love one another stuff?" Or if he says let her off the hook, they go, so you don't believe in the law. And so they're trying to actually just catch Jesus and put him in this corner. Again, what's the rule? Nobody puts Jesus in a corner. So this is a received moment. This is a received moment. The reason why this is a received moment, because there's this opportunity here. There's this opportunity to get a lesson from God, and sometimes those lessons just come to you. You see, in the case of Jesus, they're coming to him because they know he knows the answer. In your case, people come to you with the hard questions because they expect that if you're a Christian, you're going to have the right answer. Maybe you're the resident Christian in your office, right? Or maybe they know that you love Jesus because you just got a snazzy new Crosspoint sticker on the back of your car, right? And so now you drive slower, right? And so, you know, it's awesome. I got honked at, by the way, this week because it took me 1.5 seconds to move on the green light. And that person cut around me. Brand new Crosspoint sticker on the back of their car. So, busted. But I didn't even say this in the first service, so God maybe led me to say this. You know, I'm just saying. And I took a picture of the license plate. So here it is. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But cut me off, man. Like just, you took 1.5 seconds, and then right around me to another red light because this is Hernando County. Where are you going? All right. They said this to test him. And so they know, like, no, he's going to say something. It's going to be the wrong thing, and we're going to get him. We're going to get Jesus. And so this is what Jesus did. He immediately answers them. Nope. The moment came, and he paused. He stopped. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. And they continue to ask him. See, here's the thing. Like, they came to Jesus with this woman. They wanted answers. They wanted answers right away. And Jesus just took a pause. He just stopped. I don't know, like, there's a lot of people have written books about what Jesus wrote on the ground, and a lot of people have blog posts or like all these different things about what Jesus could have written. I don't know what he wrote. I don't have a DeLorean. Like, it's like we don't know. The Bible doesn't say and honestly, if the Bible doesn't say it, then that means it wasn't that important. He just stopped, and he paused, and he just starts writing. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, maybe he's just thinking about what he's going to say. I mean, yes, he's Jesus. Yes, he's God. But, I tend to think that, Jesus told me to stop and think about what I'm going to say. So maybe he stopped and he just thought about it. Because maybe he's saying, he's like, you know what, I could really nail these guys. Like I could say something and they could just cower in fear. Or they could say, I could say something and then this woman will become a legend from here on out. Or I could say something and just everybody will just get leveled. I mean, he's running through all these things. But maybe he's saying, I love each and every person that's standing right around me right now. And I just need to say something to let them know that not only are they loved, but that they matter. So he pauses. Then he stood up and he said to them, let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. That's what he said. Let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. And then he paused again. It says that once more, he bent down and he wrote on the ground. And he just paused. He just paused and he just let it sink in. He could have repeated himself 1,000 times. He could have gotten in their faces and said, let him who's without sin throw the first stone. Come on. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. Come on. Come on. He could have kept goading them. He could have kept poking at them. But he didn't do that. He paused. He spoke. And he paused again. But when they heard it, They went away, one by one, beginning with the older ones. You see, I think that when Jesus said that, let him who is without sin cast the first stone, I think number one, that's just the indication that, listen, all sin is the same. He didn't say, let him who did not commit adultery cast the first stone. He just said, let him who is without sin. Just listen, sin's the same. Sin. And then all at the same time, they just started walking out. One by one. I think they paused too. See, they let it sink in. They also didn't react immediately. They just let the received moment come to them and hear from God. I don't know what happened to these men afterwards. I don't know what else happened in their life after that. I don't know if they turned away from their life of pointing out everybody else's mistakes and went on to serve Jesus or what. But I do know what happened, what he said to the woman after this. He says this. He says, Jesus was left alone with the woman standing with him. Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. That's the next verse. Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. And Jesus stood up and he said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said, "Neither do I. Go. And from now on, sin no more." I mean, here's the thing. Jesus didn't say, first off, he didn't pick her up and go, "Well, we sure showed them." Like, he didn't say that. And he didn't even say to her, "Hey, listen, they were just trying to catch you so they could get to me. So no harm, no foul, right? We're good, okay?" He didn't even say that. He just brought up the truth, and he said, "Did anybody else condemn you?" She says, "No." That's a received moment. That was her lesson on grace at that moment. Because then he says this, "I don't condemn you either." The one guy, listen, the one person that could have thrown a stone. Like, he said, "Let the one who has not sinned be the first to throw a stone at her." He could have done it, and he didn't. And he said, "Now go and sin no more." And another received moment. And we're still talking about this hundreds of years later. This received moment. He says to her, "Go and sin no more." If you flip over your message guide, the next thing about received moments is this. Received moments come when we listen. Received moments come when we listen. James chapter 1, verse 9. Listen, I am so terrible at this, guys. Okay? I am so terrible at this. And I'm just giving you, we're going to enter into this time. I'm coming onto this different ramp here, okay? So I'm going to be really honest about a few things in just a couple minutes. I'm really terrible at this. I am working on this every single day. So this is not an expert sharing to the crowd. I'm just telling you. James chapter 1, verse 19 says this, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Here's the thing. When it comes to received moments, okay, sometimes when it comes to being received moments, we've got to just stop talking and wait a minute and receive the moment. We actually have to be able to stop and hear something and receive the moment. A lot of times we just get so focused on what we have to say or our opinion or what we want to share, or sometimes, let me just tell you, when it comes to the conversation, when somebody comes and talks to me and they ask for like my opinion, right? And they say stuff to me, like they ask for my opinion. "Hey, what do you think about?" Right? My brain's already firing. I haven't even heard the idea. I haven't even heard the thing, but I'm like literally firing up. There's only going to be one of two decisions. I like it, I don't like it. I'm going to just share which one it is, and I'm going to be quick about it, and I'm just going to share it, okay? And that's just me. It's like you're going to come and ask me my opinion, and a lot of times, without even hearing the story behind it, or without hearing the process behind it, or why the decision came, to be, someone will say, hey, I need you to tell me what you think about this, and they're going to show it to me, and I'm going to go, I don't like it. And I just will say it, just like, I don't like it. Nope, no, don't like it. And I'll just say that without any regard to, well, maybe you worked really hard on this. Maybe this was the best you could come up with. And I didn't hear the story, but I'm just going to take a look at it, and I'm going to go, nope, don't like it. Now, if I like something, I'll say that too, really fast, really quick. Not knowing that, hey, you know what? Even though you like something, it may not be the right decision. Sometimes there's just some stuff that I just don't like, and I'll just be quick to say it. Now, I got to tell you something. There's been some stuff that I've been dealing with personally in my own life that when it comes to the advice I've been given, I don't like most of it. I don't like most of it. So I'm just going to kind of share with you guys. For about the last 6 months, okay, I've been dealing with a health issue. Now, I'm going to tell you this, number one, right now, because I love you guys, you love me, okay? And here's the thing. I'm going to open up myself. I'm going to share with you guys some stuff that's been going on in my life, and then we're going to make a pact, okay? Because number one, the pact is this. You are not going to walk outside these doors and come and see me and give me your advice. All right? I don't want it, okay? I don't want it. I'm not going to receive it, okay? That's just it. I'm working on this, okay? I'm working on this. I'm work in progress, but I'm going to share this with you guys, so I'm making a deal with you. I'm going to share with you what's going on in my life, and you're not going to give me any advice. Good? Great. Okay, awesome. So here's what's going on. I've been dealing with a health issue for the last 6 months, okay? Long story short, I've been losing my voice for the last 6 months, and I have been dealing with it, and it is it's traumatizing to me, okay? And long story short of it is this. My throat closes up, and I can't breathe. And in order to breathe, I have to cough and let it out. Last week, I had a really bad coughing fit. First service had a bad coughing fit, and that's just how it's been going and stuff. And on some days, I just don't have a voice. And so the advice of, well, you need some throat rest, it doesn't work for me because that's my job, is talking, okay? And so for a person whose job it is to speak all the time, every day, right? It's just been really hard on me, to deal with. And so it starts off with, I'm having this issue, a few months ago, and my solution is, all right, well, cool. I'm just going to go to the urgent care doctor and just kind of see some stuff, and they'll give me some antibiotics, and I'll be cool. Okay? I go to the urgent care, get some antibiotics. At the end of the cycle, I'm not cool, not working. Okay? All right, well, cool. That was, time wasted. Let me go back and try again. Let's give me something stronger. Go back, try again. Give me something stronger. Doesn't work. Okay? And it's just not working. So then I come back to this, and I go to the people who love me the most. Okay? I go to my friends and family. Okay? And so my wife and my friend, they're kind of going through, and they, with their best judgment, say, we think we know what's going on, and they tell me what they think is going on, and I go, no, that's not it. And I go, and they're like, no, but we Googled, and so it's like, this is it, this is what's going on, and I go, nope, that's not it. I have to power through it. I'm gonna take some vitamins, and I'm just gonna keep going with these antibiotics and all this kind of stuff. Right? That's not it. And then my wife says to me, I think I know what's going on with your throat, and I think it's an acid issue, and I think you're going to have to reduce the amount of coffee that you drink. And I said, what? Why would you say such terrible things to me? What did I ever do to you? How could you? That's not it. That's not it. Okay, cool, fine. So I keep going, and then I go to a specialist, and I go to the specialist, and the specialist sees me, and he does the scope. I mean, he literally he's like, let's stick a camera down your throat. How does that feel? You're already having issues. And then he goes down, does a thing, and he goes, hey, I think this is what it is, and he says what it is, and so I'm going to give you 50 medications, 4, to give, and just try these things. All right, I'm going to try these things. Go through the round of trying it. Nothing. Doesn't help. So my wife says, I think it's the coffee because you drink a lot of it. And I go, that's not it. That's not it. It's not the coffee. Stop saying that. Why would this bean that God created, that he put all of his love and magic into this precious bean, that when you grind it up and put hot water on it, it creates this sweet nectar of life that makes me feel so good. Why? The things you are saying, they're just not nice. Why? And then she says, just try it. So I go, okay. So I cut down to one cup of coffee a day. One. Normal-sized cup of coffee. And I felt great all week. I actually felt great all week. And I had a voice, and I had all these things like no problem. It was great. It made me really angry. And that's, just, okay, cool. And so then I come out of that, and so today, I'm like, today's, I'm preaching today, this is a great day. So, 2 cups of coffee. I have 2 cups of coffee today. Coughing fit in the first service. And I'm like, she was right. I shouldn't be surprised because that is usually the case. But it's just, again, it's like, so my friend shares the diagnosis, says, this is what I have. I said, I don't have that. Doctor says, that's what you have. And then my wife says, well, the remedy isn't all these things. It's just, reduce your coffee. You have a lot of coffee in your day. Reduce that. And that's not it. That's what it was. And so, honestly, here's the thing. When it comes to these received moments, I'm telling you this. God puts these people in your life for a reason. People that love you, love Jesus, and love what you do. This is the criteria. People that love you, love Jesus, love what you do. When you combine those 3 things, you have the criteria. When that person speaks to you, when that person speaks into your life, that is wisdom. That's a received moment from God that you need to listen to. You need to listen to. Because there is wisdom there. When you are kicking and screaming, when you are throwing your arms up in the air and you are saying no, and you're having this spiritual tantrum, you need to understand that that's the moment to stop talking and just start listening and hear that person out. That is a received moment from God. A received moment from God that could have been handled maybe months ago. But I'll tell you about this received moment because I'm sitting in front of this doctor and we're talking about these issues that I'm having and I'm getting upset about it and I go, this is upsetting to me and I really want to make sure that we get this handled, we get this taken care of. And he goes, why is it so, why are you so, upset about, this? And I say, this is what I do, this is what I do. I speak, it's what I do. And it's not just talking about anything. I get to tell people about the life-changing message of Jesus Christ and I don't want to stop. And I want to do everything I can to make sure that I can keep doing that. And that opens up another conversation with that person. It's a received moment. The next talk, don't talk to me about coffee and stuff like that. I'm still working through it and I'm bitter. I'm very bitter. I'm more bitter about this than the actual coffee is bitter. Number 3, received moments come when we focus on Jesus. Received moments come when we focus on Jesus. Matthew chapter 14, verse 28 through 31. We're going to go into this. This is something important you got to understand. This sets the stage for things right here, okay? The disciples are on the move, and they're walking with Jesus. And as they're going through, Jesus says, I want you guys to go over across the lake over here. I want you to go across, and I'm going to meet you on the other side. And they go, how's Jesus going to meet us on the other side? Jesus doesn't have a boat. Like, Jesus doesn't have a boat. How's he going to meet? Don't worry about it. When Jesus said to go, we go. So they left, and they start heading out. Storm comes, right? It's raining, it's pouring, and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, they see a figure walking onto the water. And I love this passage, and you need to go back and spend some time in this passage because I love this passage because one of the guys in the group goes, "It's a ghost." And this is what I love about this, okay? I love that that's their first thing. One of the disciples watched too many episodes of Scooby-Doo, right? And he's looking out to the ocean. And now here's the thing. I'm not saying I would be calm, cool, and collected, but I would keep the ghost comment to myself because I know how guys are, right? And I know that one guy goes, it's a ghost. It turns out to be Jesus. Spoiler alert, okay? Turns out to be Jesus. But forever, that disciple is the ghost disciple. And they're going to be singing around, they're going to have the campfire, and they're going to go, "Hey, Thomas, remember when you thought Jesus was a ghost?" Right? And that's just how he's going to be like, yeah, eat your fish. And it's going to be like, that's just how it is always. But so here it is. Jesus comes walking on the water toward them. They're in the boat. And then now Peter goes, if that's Jesus, I'm going to call him out. We're going to prove that that's Jesus. And Peter says, "Lord, if it's you, command me to come to you onto the water." He says, only Jesus can do this, so if it's Jesus, we'll find out. And then Jesus says, "Come." Jesus calls Peter out. He says, "Come." And so Peter got out of the boat and walked on water and came to Jesus. That is a miracle. That's amazing. But when he saw the wind, this is Peter, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And Jesus immediately reached out his hand, and he took a hold of him, and he said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And as we wrap up, this is the important thing to understand when it comes to received moments. We think sometimes that the received moment from God is the moment that we decide to step out in obedience. We think in a lot of cases that God calls us to do something, right? And that when we say yes to God and we step out of the boat and we start to walk on water, we think that when that moment happens, right, that is it. That's the received moment. We could celebrate. I step out in obedience and everything else is sunshine and rainbows. And you need to understand something, that sometimes stepping out in obedience is the easiest part. And you need to say, you may be saying to me, "That's impossible because I am at this moment right now of decision and it is the hardest thing that I'm going to go through." I'm going to tell you right now, that might be the easiest part. Because with obedience will always come blessing. But you are never promised that the storm will not come. The storm will come. The storm will come. When Peter took his eyes off of Jesus, he started to sink. He had already stepped out in obedience. He had already stepped out onto the water. And the storm will come. He started to sink and Jesus saved him. He lost focus of Jesus for a moment. Jesus saved him. Sometimes that storm comes in the form of anxiety. We step out in obedience, and when things don't start to go right or the way that we picture them to go, we start having anxiety. We start getting really nervous. We start getting upset because we forget that in the middle of walking on water, the storm is still going. I got to tell you, 7 months ago in September, we started a nonprofit, my wife and I. We made a huge change in our lives. I stepped back from my day-to-day duties as executive pastor at Crosspoint, and I became teaching pastor. This is me today. In September, we started a nonprofit called Ability Tree Florida. And Ability Tree Florida, it's a really awesome thing that God called us to do. We work with families that have children with special needs. We provide those families with respite and rest opportunities, and we provide the whole family with events that are handicap accessible and that are inclusive. And it's just been an amazing ride. We stepped out to start this nonprofit, and that was us stepping out onto the water in obedience to God. God called us to do that. And so over the course of these several months in walking on water and hearing from God, we're doing that work. And it's just been a blessing. It's just been one blessing after another. It's just been great. God's been at work. But the storm, okay, the storm doesn't go away. It's not sunshine and rainbows all the times. It is really hard. And so I committed. See, like I took the job as CEO of this organization, right? And Tina is the program director. She gets to put all that stuff together. And it was my job. I commit to fundraising for this nonprofit. I commit to keeping us up and running, to keep us, going, with several goals in mind, thinking, hey, this is the goal that we've got, for 2018. We're going to raise, $200,000 to get this program up and running and going and doing all that we can. And so I have that thought in mind continually. And what ends up happening is when you get so focused on what the goal is and not the one that calls you, right? What ends up happening is that the storm of anxiety begins to hit. And for me, when I had that moment on Friday. I had the moment on Friday where 7 months into this thing, and we're chugging along, and we're doing everything we can for all these families, and I know that we stepped out on faith, and God called us to do this thing. I start thinking about, but I'm not meeting our goal. But I am not doing everything that I can to why am I not succeeding? The IRS hasn't been cooperating with all the stuff that we need because we know that the government is really quick to act. I'm not getting all the yeses that I've been hoping to get, and I'm not, and I just start thinking about all these things. We need a facility, and we still need funding, and all these things. Ups. Friday morning, we're getting ready to walk into the school, and my daughter is about to take part in Special Olympics, and she's a rock star, by the way. She performed in all of her little events, and she tosses a beanbag like nobody's business, and she's just amazing and just really cool. And we're about to kind of go into this thing, and we're in the parking lot, and I just grabbed the steering wheel, and I tell my wife, who's next to me, and I said, I think I'm going to have an anxiety attack because there's just so much on my mind. And it is just racing, and I don't think I'm not good enough. I don't know that I'm gonna meet everything that all these expectations and all this stuff. And I know that we said yes to God and to do this, but now I don't know, and I'm gripping the steering wheel. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm about to have an anxiety attack. And Tina says to me, my wife Tina, she says, "Can I pray for you?" And I said, yeah, yes, you were right about the coffee, so you're probably going to be right about this, And so she prays for me, and at the end of that, the anxiety didn't go away, okay? She prayed for me. The anxiety didn't go away. It took the remainder of the day for it to kind of dwindle down and, just chill itself out. What happened was I was able to take a moment to pause, to listen, and to focus on Jesus, and to realize that you are the one who called me, God, and you are the one that will calm the storm, but you are the one that will see me through it, because I am not the one in control. You are. And we paused for a moment, I listened, and I regained my focus on Jesus. And a lot of times, this is what we have to deal with when it comes to what we are called to do and these received moments. This isn't about, hey, if you pray, you're going to pray away your anxiety. This isn't about, hey, if you're going to do this, it's going to go away. This is about you need to take a moment and regain your focus. That anxiety is going to be there, and God's going to take care of that, and it will take care of itself. But you need to focus on Jesus, because when it gets really, really hard, you're going to start to sink. And the one that's going to be there to pull you out is Jesus. And that's the deal. And so sometimes you don't have to clap. I'm still so bitter about this coffee thing. And so so here's the thing. When that happens, you're probably going to be in a moment where you're going to say, I am sinking in this. I am sinking in this. And listen, As elementary as it may sound, okay, you may just have to stop and say, focus on Jesus. Just focus on Jesus. Why did God call you to do what you are doing? You stepped out on the boat, and then the storms came. Remind yourself of why God called you to do what you are doing, and that will see you through. Jesus will pull you up out of the water. Some next steps for us to take a look at. Number one, I will accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Let me just tell you that when it comes to these received moments, that first received moment was God giving up his son for you and your sins. You got to understand that God created us for the reason of having a relationship with him. And sin is what separates us from God. And Jesus came and he lived a sinless and spotless life to die on the cross for our sin. So the Bible says that if we believe in our heart and confess with our mouth that Jesus is Lord, that we would be saved. And you can take part in that received moment right now if you pray a prayer much like this. It says, Dear Jesus, thank you for dying on the cross for my sin. I'm asking you to come into my life and come into my heart and be my Lord, my Savior, and my friend. Help me to follow you all the days of my life. It's in your name I pray. Amen. Listen, if you just prayed that prayer for the first time, let me encourage you to take your Connect card and mark off down at the bottom in your next steps, I will accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. And for everybody there are other two next steps are there, and it says this, I will, you can fill this in, remind myself to receive the moment, to take a moment to pause, to take a moment to listen, to focus on Jesus. Remind yourself to do that. And then the second next step is this, I'm going to ask myself, what is God trying to teach me in the moment? Because we'll go through these moments and we got to remember, God's trying to show you something. God's trying to take you to where you're at. He's not leaving you where you are. He's trying to take you to the next step. Ask yourself, what is God trying to teach me? And the fourth thing is this, I'm going to memorize James chapter 1, verse 19. And the reason why that's important is this, is that when we begin to memorize Scripture and begin to just hide that in our heart, when we need it the most, it will come out so that we could be reminded that we need to be slow to speak, quick to listen, and ready to receive that moment. In just a second, we're going to continue to worship here, and this is what I'm going to ask you guys to do. Receive the moment now. Don't be worried about the next place you have to go to. Everything is going to be great. You just need to focus in on God and just ask him, God, what do you want me to know today? What do you want to teach me today? We're going to have a time of offering, and our volunteers are going to come up, and I'm just going to encourage you, give as you've already decided in your heart to give. But use this as a moment to connect with God and just to hear from him. Let's pray together. Father God, Lord, I just love you. I thank you for all that you've done in my life and all that you've done in my heart. And God, I just pray that you would just allow us just to keep focus on you. That God, that we can continue pressing forward with you. And that God, that when we hear from you, that not only will we be obedient, but we will be focused on you through the storm. God, we love you and we give you this time. In Jesus' name. Amen.